How is it that so many firefighters end up sidelined when they're on the job dealing with workers' comp, even if they've been training? You see, you've probably been told to just lift heavier and deadlift more. And if it was that simple, I wish it was, then we wouldn't be here right now. And there wouldn't be a need for this video in the first place. You take me, for example, when I was on the job, I found out that you can't just be strong if you want to avoid major injuries. You have to be mobile and flexible as well. And I honestly found that out the hard way, despite 10 years of fitness experience prior to joining the fire service. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact 4 exercises I wish I started doing a lot earlier so that you can stay injury-free and keep moving forward with all the setbacks that I personally faced. Now, before we get into anything else, we first have to understand what the top 4 injuries that occur in the fire service are in the first place. And in no particular order of importance, they go as follows. It goes ankles, knees, low back, and shoulders. Odds are if you're a firefighter, then you could name another firefighter that you know that has an injury in each one of these categories if you haven't experienced them yourself. But you're in luck because in this video, I'm going to tackle each one completely. So because of that, a lot of this is going to start with our actual foundation. This one's hard. So let's dive into the most important thing that you can start with, which most firefighters never even consider, which is your general squatting posture. And the crazy thing is, to fix it, it's not even really so much an exercise as much as it is a position that you need to get comfortable in so that we can actually fix the underlying issues that most firefighters are facing that they've never even considered. So here's the thing, I'll say it again, it's not about doing more deadlifts. As a firefighter, you've probably been told to do that, and you can, but the thing is that it's not enough on its own. Even if you can deadlift perfectly, which most of us can't, that doesn't mean that you can still get down low and stay stable in a deep squat. And on real calls, on the medicals, the lift assists where you're in cramped bathrooms and confined spaces, that's the position that you're actually going to find yourself in. So put yourself in the mindset. Think about the calls that you actually run all of the time. And when you do, you're going to have to think about lift assists as the most obvious option. Meemaw's wedged between the toilet seat and the bathtub, or between the mattress and the dresser. You name it, if they can be stuck there, they will be. So in that situation, you're twisted, you're reaching, you're in a deep squat, your spine isn't going to stay neutral, and you're trying to stay upright and have balance on top of all of that. Nobody's deadlifting with a perfect neutral spine in that moment. So if the job is chaotic, your training has to start with a foundation, which is a position that you can own. And the best place to start is something called the resting squat. And here is your goal. Start with 2 minutes a day in the resting squat position. If you have to, if you can't put your heels to the ground, then hold on to a sink, a door, a countertop, something, a frame in front of you if you need it, and just add 30 seconds every 3 to 5 days. Apply progressive overload the same way you would with any other exercise. Now here's the thing, if you do that for a couple of weeks, your hips, your ankles, and your back are going to be feeling like a completely different firefighter, especially on those lift assists. And here's the thing they don't tell you, once you actually own your space in this position, everything else is going to get easier, whether it's hinging, lifting, crawling, getting up and off the floor. All of these things become more natural because your body is actually aligned with how the human frame is designed to move in the first place. All right, next I'm gonna show you the exercise you can do to bulletproof your lower back completely. Or maybe fireproof it would be better. I don't know, sorry, dumb joke. At least you're not a cop. Here's the thing, when I was being trained as a firefighter, I was told to keep a neutral spine all the time. And if you've been around any length of time, there's clearly a problem with this because on the job, you don't get to choose to be in perfect positions. In fact, I learned this lesson the hard way when I was on probation, when we were just cleaning up our day room, and I got down on the ground, went to go lift a table kind of at an awkward angle, bent over and picked it up and just hurt up, which led to instant pain. And like I said, I was on probation on a trade day, tried to tough guy it out and hide it, but of course, that didn't work and I was called out immediately. Not only was I called out, but I was sent home and ended up not being able to work for 2 weeks from a table, from literally picking something up at the station, not even from being on a call. And that's actually the lesson, because it wasn't that my back just randomly failed. It failed in a position I never trained for, which was rounded and awkward. So if we're going to be mobile, flexible firefighters, then the goal isn't to ignore rounding. The goal is to build strength in that position gradually, like you would with any other area. So your spine is actually more resilient when the job forces you into that position, which it inevitably will. And so because of that, one of the best drills, exercises that you can ever do as a firefighter is going to be something called the Jefferson curl. It's going to teach you controlled spinal flexion or rounding under lighter loads, which are slow, deliberate, and progressive. Honestly, if I was getting started with this all over again, I would do it with no weight, or at most a 5 or 10 pound dumbbell with reps between 5 to 8, maybe 3 to 5 seconds down, 3 to 5 seconds up. Now here's the thing, you're not gonna do large loads with this. Don't expect to come in and do this like a deadlift. And in fact, if you feel sharp pain or nerve symptoms, or you have a history of disc issues, don't even guess. Just get it checked out, and always make sure to consult a physician if you're uncertain. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, if you do this consistently, you're going to be shocked at how much stronger and how much more confident you're going to feel, especially in your lower back, during those calls that have you in awkward positions. And if you can remember anything from this section here, it is just a belief, which is neutral spine is a tool. It is not a rule. So we've spent a lot of time talking about your low back, your natural posture, and being low to the ground. Now, we're going to show you how to protect those big, broad shoulders you got there, slugger. I mean, unless you're a female firefighter, in which case, well, if you're a fighter, you probably still have big, broad shoulders, which isn't a problem. It's good. If you've been on the job any length of time, then you've probably seen the shoulder problems and the rotator cuff tears, all of which are way too common. But it also makes sense when you think about it, because between the throwing ladders, overhaul, pulling ceiling, loading hose, reaching overhead at, again, awkward angles, and the fatigue that comes in with that, it's also true that most shoulder injuries aren't from one big moment. They're from thousands of sloppy reps on shift with probably next to no preparation. And the fact is that constant overhead rotation and movement, especially when we're not training the support muscles, adds up. So the answer isn't to never use your shoulders, it's to train these small stabilizers that keep the shoulders centered and protected when things get messy. And one of my favorite exercises for this is nothing other than the Cuban press, done lightly. What this does is it builds external rotation, strength, and overhead control, which is exactly what the rotator cuff is designed to do. And like everything else that we do, it can be simple. You can do 2 sets at a time for between 12 to 15 reps, 1 to 2 times per week. It should be said that this exercise, as well as a lot of the mobility exercises, should be done very slowly and progressively. And if it feels pinching or sharp or tearing, you're going too heavy. But I can tell you this with confidence, if you do this consistently, your shoulders are going to feel smoother, more stable, and a lot more comfortable on the job. All right, lastly, and maybe arguably most importantly, I'm gonna give you a single exercise that is gonna tackle not just your hip flexors, but your knees and your ankles all in one, so that you can develop into the type of firefighter that will never be set back by an injury again. Here's a quick statistic for you. In the fire service, ankle injuries are everywhere. Roughly 17 to 20% of workers' comp claims come from a foot or knee issue, right behind back strains. And the thing about these injuries specifically is that it's usually not from some crazy incident. I'm not saying those things don't happen, it's just not what is most often the case. It's stuff you've seen or maybe experienced, which is like stepping off the rig, slipping on a wet floor, catching your foot on some stairs. In my department specifically, we had a firefighter who was out for over 2 years from an ankle injury that he got just from missing a step in the bay. What's the fix for this? And the answer is we need an exercise that builds ankle and knee strength within a full range of motion so that you can tolerate bad steps without folding completely. And that is why I love the knee over toe lunge designed specifically for firefighters. It trains your ankles to handle your knee traveling forward under control, and it also hits the knee and hip flexors at the same time. As with anything else, you're gonna wanna start easy for 2 sets of 8 to 12 reps per side, 1 to 2 times per week. Now here's the thing with progression on this, you're gonna wanna keep your heel down as long as you can and even start with 2 plates on the ground. Move forward slowly down to 1 plate. Then after that, you can go body weight on the ground as you continue to progress forward and free up that range of motion. As your range of motion starts to improve, keep moving slowly and only go as far as you can control with 0 pain. Over time, what you're gonna notice and what you're gonna feel is your ankles, your knees, and your hips get smoother, stronger, and more stable, especially on the job when you're doing low movements and hose pulls close to the ground. If you add these 4 exercises alone into your routine, you'll be astounded at how quickly your performance, your mobility, and your overall sense of well-being improves because of it. And you might be asking, hey, Robbie, what's the point? Well, my mission is very simple. It's help firefighters get in shape and stay in shape for their entire career and well into their retirement without having to spend 12 hours a week in the gym just to do it. That's also why I built a free resource called the Firefighter Fat Loss Protocol, which shows you exactly how to get leaner and stronger without living in the gym the entire time. And what's more than that is how to maintain it with a firefighter schedule. This is, in fact, the same protocol that I helped Kyle lose 140 pounds over the course of 1.5 years with when he was only working out twice a week to achieve that. It's also the same protocol that has already helped over 1,000 full-time career firefighters lose weight and stay in shape long-term without having to live in the gym. Like I said, you can grab that for free. It's listed in the description. If you learned something from this video and you want the other side of things, which is the exercises I personally stopped doing because they were frying my recovery and keeping me sore on shift, then watch this video right here. Lastly, a friendly reminder, which is being in shape is part of the uniform. I'll see you in the next one.